Hello.
Your Skype picture, when the little swirly thing goes around, it's so pretty. All right, so Erik, hi again. I love you still.
Hi, Mama.
What's up? We got two choices. We can talk about, we can bring in your girlfriend from heaven, your heavenly girlfriend, Jillian, or we could talk about dysfunctional families.
Let's talk to Jillian.
Okay, why don't you go get your girlfriend?
Like this. He's like this. This will be interesting because I don't know anything about Jillian.
Yeah.
So
We don't know very much. That's true. But I know she, her specialty, I think, is parenting and children. She's a guide for that whole thing.
okay, he's like doing one of these. He's going like this. Jillian, Jillian, Jillian. So with this, all right. So okay. She's here. I got like a 60s vibe on her, like a chill feel. Like
I bet.
she's chilling. Yeah. Totally like the 60s going on. Okay, so hey, Jillian.
Hi, Jillian.
Hey, Eric's mom.
Aw. So tell me what she looks like, Veronica. Or Jillian, you can tell me what you look like. I don't care. Erik, you can tell me.
Right now, the hair's up. I don't know if it's short or if it's pinned up. What is it, short or it's pinned? It's here. It's pinned up. And she has like a kerchief or a bandana, if you will, around her head.
Okay. What color's her hair?
And there are blondish brown.
Okay.
Blondish brown. So it's more, it's dirty blonde would be what you would call it, she's saying. Dirty blonde. She's wearing a very flowing skirt. She's slender build. And ample breasts.
Okay, well, of course, for Erik, he was always the breast man.
Ample breasts. That's all I'm going to say, Erik. All right.
That's funny. I remember when he was Erik was in the hot tub with a bunch of his friends, and he ran inside and told Papa, "Guess what? I saw boobies for the first time."
He's totally just finished your sentence.
Oh my God, that was it. It was a big deal for him. All right, so how did you meet Erik?
I was part of the welcoming committee, she says.
Why?
And because she's saying that it's like this. If you know something, she's giving it to us in our terms so we understand it. If you know that there's an event happening, and it's something that piques your curiosity, like a grand opening. She's using the analogy of grand opening, a ribbon cutting. You know, you're kind of be curious. You're kind of voyeuristic. You know, you want to go and see. And so there was a greeting of a soul, and she just happened to be part of the crowd, and she felt a very strong. She's using the word magnetic connection to Erik, as if they had experienced other time together. And so when she saw him, she was very drawn to him. She's using the word mesmerized by him.
Well, wait. So a lot of souls cross over all the time. You don't show up for all of them. Why Erik's transition?
Because I think she's saying there's a history. And so I'm going to say that probably has to do with they knew each other in a past history. And so she's saying this time she's equaling out the relationship like this. In a past life, they were like this, her, him, and she's equaling out the relationship, plus the fact that, she was attracted to Erik's openness in his soul, his willingness to just step into this with such vibrancy and such clarity of who he was. And she likes the fact that he can be in two places at once. They're her words.
Okay.
I can be in two places at once. And she's kind of, but she's seeing herself doing it. So that was kind of interesting to her.
All right. Well, what was I going to ask? Oh, yeah. Tell me about the most significant past life you guys had together. Maybe there's only one. I don't know.
Erik, do you want to answer that, or do you want Jillian to answer that? Actually, I'm going to say it with finesse here. Erik was the, we would call it a pimp.
Uh-oh, okay.
And she was one of the girls in it. And she actually had a child in that life where she was doing this for survival.
Oh,
and Erik was, and I'm like, where are we going with this? Like what, 1600s maybe showing me. I don't know that the word would have been pimp in the 1600s, but for our intents and purposes, pimp. And it was a very controlling relationship, but not an abusive relationship.
Okay. So what, didn't beat you or anything?
Here's the thing, Erik is very gracious in the fact that he's saying he knew oh God. Erik has always been about survival. And it's interesting how he had to not survive to get this out there. This, I'm about survival. So he took these waywards, as he's calling them, and put them under one house. And being the entrepreneur that he is, he figured he was just going to make a couple bucks. Nobody got hurt. They had something that was wanted at that time, well, at all times, and it was an enterprising opportunity. But Jillian chimes in and says that Erik never made her feel unequal. It was a visualization and a consciousness and a realization that she was down here doing this, and he was up here collecting this, where she got,
Did she get enough food and clothing, health needs tended to, things like that?
She said that she had one child, and her and that one child lived on the streets. And they lived very meager. Her surviving was based on, where was the next meal coming from? And she was actually, as she is telling me, grateful that she had that opportunity to earn that money.
But he housed you too, right? So you weren't on the streets anymore.
Well, yes, it got them a roof over their head, and eventually they actually developed feelings for each other. Okay. But she actually met an early death.
Why? What happened?
She got sick. She got an infection.
Oh, okay, that's too bad. Okay, tell me about your specialty. I've heard that it's, child raising and children, but I'd like to hear from your words.
Jillian, how would you share with the people what your gift is, what your naturalness is? Oh, child protection.
Oh, okay.
Child protection. And awareness around child abuse. So while she lived on the streets for a certain amount of time with her child, everything was about protecting that child with her entire being, her entire life. Yeah. And so she really wants to do this work about children and creating an awareness around child abuse.
I want to go ask one more question about that life. What was the spiritual mission in that life with you and Erik? Or you alone?
So do you want the together mission or separate missions? Because would it be
both?
Okay. Well, the together mission was to prepare them for the life of childhood, so they could start over again. Because the next time that they came in, think about it. He's saying he was the father figure to her. He taught her how to care for herself, essentially, because he gave her the money. He taught her how to care. And the next life that she came in, she was the child. So
Okay.
he prepared her in that sense. The soul got what it needed. And actually, one's over here and one's over here. So I feel like I'm going to need to go like this. Eric's always over here. I don't know why I'm telling you that, but it's hot over here. So Eric's breathing on me over here. So preparing her to be a child again. And here's the interesting part. The child she had with her reincarnated into the same life the next time, she's telling me, as her parent.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. So can I ask, what's the purpose of that? So they actually flipped roles. So she got she got the full experience. The child, yeah. the parent, the child.
Yeah.
Eric's role in all of that, was to help foster and feed that. And Eric's saying he just liked hanging out. He just, kind of just hanging out there. Eric learned a lot about business.
Okay, good. Awesome. All right, so how specifically do you work with the child protection thing?
Mm-hmm. She's the nudge of reason, she's saying. The nudge is her word, of consciousness in workers. So, it's almost as if and she's kind of chuckling softly about this. She would never use the word saint about herself, but, like some of the saints in history have been known to do different things. She would be the saint of nudging.
Okay.
And so, let's say a DIFUS worker or a child welfare worker, has an inkling, has a feeling, has, something, she will be that energy that comes in, and that it's almost like that nudging, that voice.
Right. Like Erik does.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Bringing people. All right. Well, that's awesome. What a worthy cause. Jeez.
He's the patron saint of child workers.
Oh.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, do you have any message for, CPS workers, social workers, parents, children, all the above?
She really wants workers, caregivers, professionals to trust their gut instincts more. And she would love to see a curriculum built around this to support people who do use their gut instincts, so that it becomes more mainstream. Because she said, a lot of the people that she sees, that she knows they get it, they see the flicker, but they don't always trust it. And a lot of them are afraid of the bureaucracy.
Oh, yeah.
What if I make a mistake? What if I do the wrong thing? Gee, I know I shouldn't follow the rules, but if I don't follow the rules. So it's really opening up the space where we accept the gut feeling, the voice in our head, And
that lesson transcends, past child protection service workers. It's everybody needs to their intuition. So,
wait, she just wants to say one more thing, Elisa? I'm sorry. This is a message for somebody that she just knows needs to hear this, that's watching this. So may I deliver it?
Yeah.
Don't turn away from what you know is happening.
Oh, wow. Okay, out there, whoever you are, do something about it. Don't turn away. No head in the sand.
No, wow. Don't turn away. You know it's happening. Don't turn away.
Jillian, hopefully you will keep after her or him and help them. So what do you think about Erik? Is he good in the sack? I'm just kidding. I don't need to know that,
But he's well hung, so I don't know.
Well, that is true. I will have to say, it's like, he was like almost carny, but
it's funny because he's like all jazzed up about sex, and you think he was like Don Juan, the porn star, and yet he's like, I don't know that I really had that much. But anyway, but he's, he's good. She actually is saying that she would like to partner with Erik in this endeavor to bring awareness. Erik and I connected because he reached out to me for mental illness, and she's really got the child component down. So perhaps maybe the four of us at times can do some things together.
Well, a lot of people who are abused by parents or whoever, those people do have mental illness. So
it perpetuates into different.
Yeah, exactly. So what else do you think about Erik? What's your take on my boy?
I want to know, Jillian, we want to know, what is it that you think about Erik? What's the uniqueness about Erik? The way he just lays it all out there, the way he just has no fear. He just puts it out there. And she said he's very good at explaining things. He could take the most complicated of things and he can boil it down so simply that it's just, there's not anything you can't get about it. She loves his passion about education. He is an advocate for education.
Okay.
She's really, she's learned so much from him. Erik's kind of like, he's like, like this. Like,
I'm all that. I'm all that.
Oh, he's cool, but he's,
Well, what do you think about?
Yeah. Okay. And go ahead. What?
No, go ahead.
No, she just said she likes the way that Erik makes her feel when she's around him.
That's what I wanted to ask. Yeah, how does he make you feel as his girlfriend?
Yeah, he makes her feel.
God dang it! There's the freaking doorbell. But guys, don't worry about it. I can't stop life around the Matthews family.
No, we can't.
No, we can't. Sorry.
He makes her feel valued. Mm-hmm. He makes her feel like an equal. Remember, we talked about this. Right. She said she totally has that. Mm-hmm. And he makes her want to be best at what she does and why her son is here.
Oh, that's so awesome. All right, well, thank you. Is there anything else you want to say, Jillian?
No, but thank you, Mama Elisa.
Thank you. I love you. And keep that boy in line.
Erik's doing this. And now he's kind of walking out with his pelvis in the front. I don't know. I'm just a mess. All right. Bye.
All right. So I will put Veronica's information at the end of the video. So check her out. Bye.
Bye.
I'm going to totally stop, close Skype, and then reopen it. So it might take a little longer because sometimes it's been blurry. Okay. Bye.
Bye.